Hey, we're back live on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America, where America comes to talk in the morning at the new Tesla store, 9850 West Broad Street, Glen Allen in Henrico County. We're here today. We're having a blast. This is the place to be, and it's going to be open very, very soon. So you want to get this down because a lot of people are owning Teslas now. Average people and famous people. Now, one of those famous people, well, he's with us right now, future Hall of Fame pitcher Max Scherzer of the first place, by the way, Washington Nationals. Max this season 12-5, 2.25 ERA. Get this, 220 Ks, only 39 walks. Another Hall of Fame type season. So tell us what's going on with your sprain in your neck, and you're out of the rotation, and you're on the DL, and what's the deal?
I know, this has really been the worst case scenario. It started in San Diego where I woke up one morning and I didn't sleep well, and I had a little crook in my neck and went in and played catch. And after I played catch and ran, things got exacerbated by game time that I could tell something was off. And so, we tried to treat it, do everything we can to get myself ready to pitch the next day, and just wasn't able to go. I could feel that I had strain by doing everything that I'd kind of strained my neck. And so it was one of those things where I had to schedule, and with the off day, we were able to, reslot everybody so that I could pitch either Friday or Saturday. And so as of right now, that's what we're looking at. So this is a small minor injury, and just something that you just got to stay on top of.
Well, listen, I know your wife says you're the hardest working player in the MLB. You never take a day off. You always stay in shape. You do the right things. Now, I got to tell you, Max, and I hope you're not going to take offense to this, I'm a lifelong 55-year. That's a very long time. 55-year Astro fan. And I'm sorry you're injured, but if you had to get injured, now that you're playing the Astros, that's probably the best time ever, right?
No. They're one of the best teams in MLB. They've had a great year, and I'm actually let down that I'm not getting a chance to face them. You always want to face the best teams. They're your measuring sticks. So,
right.
I'm kind of down that I'm not getting a chance to face them this year.
All right. Well, look, the good news: Washington with a 14-game lead in the East. So if you're going to take a few days off to get set for the playoffs, now is it. You're going to win the division. The Astros also 12.5 up. So, Max, here's the deal, right? I'm a lifelong Astros fan. I think we got a shot this season to finally get back to the World Series since 2005. So you're my link to Nationals, Astros, World Series tickets. So what do you think?
Well, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Just us in the World Series is as good as it can get. So, we'll play whoever from the American League. So we'll make your dream come true if that happens. All
right. We're going with Astros, Nationals. No question about it. Max Scherzer with us, the future Hall of Fame pitcher of the first place Washington Nationals in the NL East, and they're at Minute Maid Park in Texas this week. Max out for a couple of days with a sprain, but he'll be back hopefully, as you say, on Friday or Saturday. I want to talk, Max, about your experience with Tesla. They're opening up a brand new store in Richmond, Virginia. I know you've been to the one in Northern Virginia, just out of the D.C. area. What motivated you? I mean, you can buy any car ever made ever. What motivated you, Max, to go with a Tesla?
This was a few years back, but my wife was a huge fan of it, and after a few years, we decided she really wanted a Tesla, so we got her a Tesla. And, I had a nice BMW at the time. I still thought my BMW was the best car ever, and, having that around. But then after just like a couple of weeks of driving her car around, I kept asking her, hey, can I have your keys? Can I drive your car for a little bit more? Yeah. And then I finally had to admit, yes, the Tesla was better than my BMW. And, it then became apparent that, it was going to work out where I was going to be able to buy one myself. So, I've been an owner of a Model S, for 3-4 years now, and I've absolutely fallen in love with the car. I love everything about it. Love the electric drivetrain. It's so much fun to drive, and we both love them. We both own them and love them.
Well, one of the cool things about it is the level of acceleration. I mean, it's so fast, unlike, a 6 or an 8 cylinder gas model. I mean, you put your foot on a pedal, it just takes off. Does that take any time? I mean, I've driven it several times, but did that take any time in just getting accustomed to that, Max?
No, because every time you gun it like that, you always have a smile on your face. It's so much fun to drive. Like you said, it's kind of like a roller coaster, the way you can just have that instant acceleration. And so it's such a fun car to drive, and it's such a fun driving experience that I don't think I'll ever go back to a gas car.
Now, some people that are not familiar with Tesla might think, well, whenever I want to stop for gas, I just stop for gas and I fill it up with gas, and that's easy to do. There's a gas station on every corner. But like if I'm running low on energy, how do I stop? How do I get re-energized? Where do I plug it in? How do I find them? What if I'm, 30 miles out and I've only got 10 miles remaining? How do you manage that? How do you manage the recharge aspect of it while you're driving around, Max?
Well, there's two ways to kind of look at it. Your day-to-day driving, you got to remember, every time you wake up in the morning, because you can just charge from home. You just install a 220-volt outlet, which is the same thing as a washer and dryer outlet. It's very cheap and affordable to just put one in your garage. And then every time you wake up in the morning, you have a full tank. Like, you have a full charge. Like, you can have over 200 miles for your day-to-day driving, which, to most people, you just don't go over that.
Right.
And actually, so for me, you talk about day-to-day driving, you're actually saving time because you're never having to stop at a gas station to fill up.
Mm-hmm.
So you just never even think about it anymore. So day-to-day driving, it's actually a million times better than ever doing it. When you start talking about doing long-distance trips, yeah, that's where you have to start planning. You have to know if you're going. I've had to do this a few times where when you're driving to cities, across 4 hours to another city, you have to plan to where along the highway you're going to stop and recharge. Now, does that add some time to your trip? Yes, it does. But at the end of the day, the amount of time you save by not having to stop at a gas station, it's worth it 10 times over because, like I said, every time you wake up, every single morning, you have a full tank.
Yeah, so Mac, the bottom line is if you're going on a trip, basically you're going to plan it. You've got an app that'll show you where the recharging stations are. Normally, they're by a 7-Eleven or a Wawa or something of that nature, so you can go and stop in and eat or do whatever you have to do. And if you're on the road and you have to do an 100% charge, what's the time on that? Estimated?
Anywhere from like half an hour to an hour.
Right.
I'd say
so
more, around there. So, I mean, yeah, you're losing that hour. That's something and that is a drawback. I get it. That's fair criticism. But, half the time when you're on a trip like that, it's not bad to get out of the car anyway to get something to eat. And,
exactly.
For me, if you're thinking about purchasing a Tesla and that's your main concern, for a trip that you might do once or twice a year, that really shouldn't be a deterrent in your purchasing decision.
I think you're right because, look, I mean, normally if you're taking that kind of a trip and you stop for gas, what do you normally do, right? You go in, you get something to eat, you get something to drink, and that takes a half hour, 25 minutes anyway, so you're almost there. And the thing is, so that everybody knows, you're not putting dollars in the machine to get your car charged. You're not putting your credit card in. It's free, right?
Right. Yeah, every time I've been there, it's free. So you just, drive up to the machine, and sometimes you're actually fighting for spots. There can be you're fighting for spots.
Right.
Because there's, that can happen, but they're usually so good with their charging stations where there's 10 or 12 units available. So it's kind of fun to be pulling up, and there's like 5 other Teslas next to you as well. It
is a lot of fun. And now, what about getting it repaired? I mean, if it breaks down right now, if you own a Ford or a GM, you've got your mechanic or you've got your dealership. What if it breaks down? What do you do?
Yeah, I've actually had, not necessarily because of the production with it, but just because of driving conditions.
Right.
I've had a couple instances, and it's actually been one of the most easy, best car maintenance experiences I've had of just being able to get the car. There's two types of things where you take it to the service center and they provide you a replacement Tesla to drive in the meantime. I mean, that's just been outstanding, the customer service they've had with that. And then there was another time when, I had something that went wrong with the car, and it literally shut down on the side of the road. And I called Tesla, like, hey, what's going on? And they said, hey, we're going to come pick up that car. You just get in an Uber and just go home, and we'll get you a replacement car tomorrow. And we're just going to come pick up the car, take it, replace. They had to do some maintenance on it. And it was actually one of the more, I just literally had to pull the car from the side of the road, get in an Uber, and go home. And, by the next day I had a replacement car, and, they had already taken the Tesla to the, replacement center for me. So they did such a great job of handling a really probably, disastrous kind of roadside maintenance experience that I've had in my life. They handled it so well that, man, it's impressive what they're able to do with the technology in the car.
It is pretty amazing. And I want to say also that everybody knows that Tesla has more than 30,000 employees in the United States. These cars are made in the U.S., and it doesn't receive any special tax breaks or incentive from taxpayers. And you know that Tesla is the first successful U.S. startup car maker, Max, and I don't know how many generations. You got to go back a very long time.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, that's what's kind of cool about the company is that this is American-based, and the future of it. That when you start thinking about environment and changes and everything, that they can be at the lead front of low-emission vehicles, and to be a very well-performing car that doesn't run on gas. So that's a huge environment benefit, as well as they continue to make technological solutions on manufacturing. So from an owner standpoint, it's very fulfilling to be able to own a car like this.
We're with future Hall of Fame pitcher Max Scherzer of the first place Washington Nationals, spending a few minutes with us this morning. Max is in Houston, Texas, home of the Houston Astros, my favorite team forever and ever. Back from the Larry Jerker, Jimmy Wynn days, Joe Morgan, who else? Bob Aspromani. Boy, I got a long memory. Got to go way back for that. Way before Max's time. He would remember that. Back when they were the Colt 45s. I think our catcher was Jerry Grody, right? That's how far back I go. It's kind of sad. Max, tell us about your buying experience, because Tesla's a little bit different. You buy straight from Tesla. You don't go through a dealership. You buy straight from the manufacturer, if you will. A little bit of a different model. Tell us about the buying experience when you went in. Normally you go in to buy a car, you got to haggle and hassle and talk to sales managers. How did it go? What was different about it?
Honestly, it's the best car purchasing experience you can possibly have. You're not doing it. I think one of the first and foremost things is, when you go into one of the shops. We were living in Arizona, and we actually just went into the mall, and you go into the Tesla store at the mall to start buying a car. It kind of seems weird, but once you get over that, the service is so great. They provide every detail that you need to know about the car, and really they walk you through when we're actually going through it. After we did the test drive and everything, that they walk you through purchasing the car online, because when we live in Arizona, Arizona wasn't allowing the car to actually be brought into there. So we had to buy it online, and they just walked through every single step and they were completely honest, completely forthright of, hey, what are your driving experiences? Do you need heated seats? Do you want cooled seats? Do you want this type of performance, or do you not? They really kind of tailored the car to what I was actually looking for, and the buying experience to me has been my favorite car I've ever bought, because of how friendly and the direct working with Tesla and not working with the dealership actually made it a much more enjoyable process.
You've been a Tesla owner and driver now, Max, for some time. Would you give your unequivocal recommendation? I mean, if somebody is looking at a Tesla and saying, maybe this is an option for me, what would be your bottom line?
Oh, I mean, this is it. Especially when you talk about the new Model 3 coming out, I think there's going to be a price point for everybody in that. If you're considering a Tesla and you have any apprehension about it, just know on a scale of 1 to 10, I rate it a 15. I think that says enough.
I think that says it all. Okay, got one more baseball question. So coming to the Nationals from Detroit, both teams, great fan base, right? No question. You're very fortunate because there's nothing like Nationals fans. I've been to many games. They're great. And I've been to Tiger Stadium, or I think it's called something else now, right? Comerica Park.
Yes.
But I've been there several times. Fans are great. What's the difference between the fan base in Detroit and Washington?
Just that, with D.C., the fan base is much younger because the team's only been there for 10 years, whereas the Tigers have been around there forever. Mm-hmm. So you have much more generational type fans, whereas the D.C. fan base is a younger. Everybody, it's only been there for the past 10 years, and it's a city that's craving some success because there's a really old generation because there was Senators there, but there's such a gap of baseball in the nation's capital that the fans love seeing us win. So it's fun to be a part of a young organization versus a very historic one. And so it's cool because you get to create new memories for everybody.
Outstanding. I want to thank you for your time. Hall of Fame future, I don't want to jinx you, Max, future Hall of Fame pitcher Max Scherzer of the first place Washington Nationals. By the way, I just spent a week with my family and my 12-year-old in Cooperstown this past week. I just got back over the weekend, and along with playing baseball there, my son got to play. I also went to, for my second time, to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And what a wonderful place. What a wonderful experience it is for everybody. And I got to see my two Astros up there, Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. So that was a lot of fun. Max, thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
All right, Max Scherzer on the John Fredericks Radio Network, live at the new Tesla store at 9850 West Broad Street in Glen Allen, right here in Henrico County in the heart of Virginia. And Max Scherzer, he loves his Tesla. Okay, he's going to the Hall of Fame. If he loves his Tesla, it's got to be something very special about it. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth, where America comes to talk in the morning. We'll be right back. Keep it right here.